Hey, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to another episode of the van build, and today we're going to be installing our Maxxair fan and Skylight, depending on the weather, of course. It's the end of December, it could rain, but the forecast is looking okay, so going to risk it. If you're going to be using this video as a tutorial, just check on the weather. Needless to say, you're going to be cutting holes in the roof of the van, so the last thing you want it to do is for it to suddenly pour down with rain. So in this van build, we're going to be putting two skylights in. One is going to be the MaxxFan, which is going to go up here right in the last bay of the roof, and the other one is going to be a Skylight, which is the Max LX, I think it's called, but it's a 700 by 500 mil Skylight. No fan, just a straight open and close Skylight. Today we're going to do the MaxxFan first, only because it's a little bit easier to get to from the back of the van. So you can see here, we've opted to put it in the very last bay. And the reason for that, this is a medium wheelbase van, and the distance from this beam here to this one here is enough to put in a decent sized solar panel. So on the roof, the whole lot's going to be solar panels. I'm hoping for somewhere between 350 to 400 watts. Obviously, if we weren't putting in the front Skylight, we'd have a little bit more roof space to play with, including the front, and we'd probably put the fan here, which will be directly central over the bed. So this is the MaxxFan itself. If you've seen it before, it's electronically operated and you can manually override it. It comes with a remote control. And the idea is that it can suck air out of the van, and it can also draw air into the van. So depending on whether it's hot or cold outside, you basically got some sort of climate control within the van that runs off your leisure battery. It's obviously a 12 volt fan. This is the clear tint roof. I'm going to keep this Celotex protective glare on just whilst I'm doing the install. So at this point, I'd just like to shout out to North Devon Campervans, who have kindly supplied us with the adapter ring to help us install this MaxxFan into the roof of this van. Let's show you that. So underneath the fan, first of all, we have this trim ring. This is the final piece, and that will go up underneath just to make everything look nice and finished. We then have this ring. Now this is made from heavy duty plastic. It follows the camber of the roof and also has little notches cut out for the ridges that sit in the roof, which I'll show you in a minute. The reason why it makes it so easy to install is obviously this bit here, which is the section that goes into the roof, is flat. The roof's not flat. So having this adapter basically takes all of that issue out, and you don't have to build up layers of mastic tape or anything like that. You can literally put this in, use it as a template, draw a line around the inside, cut out the hole, use some Sikaflex, which I've also been supplied by North Devon Campervans, and then you have your hole, put your screws through, go straight through this and the roof of the van to hold it all secure in place, and then the actual fan itself screws into the side right here. So it should make the install super easy, super efficient, and yeah, let's get going. The other thing I've done is I've just made this little box frame, which will essentially, once this is all kind of installed like so, that's obviously going to come through the roof, and then on the underside we're going to want to install the trim ring. Now the issue is that obviously the roof still cambers off to the back, so it's sloping from here. So this is actually the lowest beam, and all those are ever so slightly higher, roughly about 5 mil higher. So what I've had to do is create this box, which then the trim ring will then, the adapter plate and the fan will screw into from underneath, and we'll seal it all onto the inside of the metal. But then also the trim ring will then screw up into it as well and help hold the ceiling up. So ideally we want a completely flat ceiling. We don't want it to curve down this way. So what I've done, I don't know if you can see that, so I've made this box ring, but this also follows the curvature of the roof. That should just sit up there and be nice and flat. Now, this last bay is quite a tight gap between the structural beam and the back of the van. So what I'm using is that little grommet is kind of like the final point. And if I take it to the roof, I'm going to use the adapter ring to essentially not go any further back than that grommet. I'll show you on the... So here we are, this is the top of the grommet. So basically I know that I don't want to really go any further back, and I'm going to be cutting on the inside of the line, so we're well within the margin. I just need to draw a line, and as you can see, follows the contour of these ridges perfectly. So we'll obviously fill the gaps with Sikaflex. This bit comes out and we'll have a nice go. Trim rings in, windows cut. This then slots in there. And as you can see, it started to rain. Perfect timing. That's it. I'm just going to cover this up for a moment. Okay, bit of a temporary solution here, just while there's a passing shower. Remember, kids, don't cut holes in the roof of your van when it's raining. Anyway. Plastic bag, just put the roof fan on top, just to protect it. Edges are all cut and filed, just need to prime them once the rain stops, and then let that dry. Using the stuff that you use for windows, I've got a Sika primer, window primer. Same stuff, just clean up the bare edges, make sure that the metal's completely sealed, because obviously that will create a opportunity for rust. And then we'll Sikaflex the adapter straight onto the top. Actually no, sorry, we're going to drill some pilot holes first because we need to prime them. Basically there'll be a whole bunch of holes all the way around which the screws will go into. That reminds me, when you buy this adapter from North Devon Campervans, select the optional longer screws. That's what's going to get you through the fan, the adapter, the metal, and then into your wooden frame. On the screws, the ones that come with the MaxxFan aren't quite long enough. So yeah, almost there. Okay, so we've drilled all the pilot holes and we've primed and filed and primed all the edges. It's ready for the internal frame, which I've just had to make a slight modification to. Just cut out this little channel here to allow it to sit flush in this this sort of double skin groove. So what we're going to do, it's got this grip fill stuff, glue that and offer it up so it covers most of the screw holes. It doesn't matter if it doesn't do all of them, but yeah, we want most of the screw holes covered so that the screws go all the way through, and we should be good to get the fan installed. The adapter plate and the I guess I'm going to call it a bracket installed. It's all sealed in. It's probably not the neatest of jobs, but it's sealed. Sort of like doing a wedding cake. And I did all the top of the nuts as screws as well, just to give it extra protection. Right, now I need to get this on. First thing, make sure the cable's hanging down, because need them, and then you need to wind it open, and we're going to put 4 screws in at the sides. We should be done. There we go, MaxxFan is installed. Just a little cheeky tip, you turn these like 180 degrees, it just helps drop this little fly net out of the way, and it means that you can take that off and put your hands in, just put it down just to make sure it's wedged against the rubber seal on the outside. I found that quite tricky to line the 2 screw holes at each side. Sorry, there's 4 in total, 2 on each side. I find it really difficult to line them up without any sort of downward force. So this just helps just to pull the whole thing down and wedge it against the rubber weather seal. And then what you can do is angle the screws as if you imagine at the top. Angle the screws in, you can just about see the opening of the hole, screw them in, and it should just tighten up the gap between the fan and this sort of weather seal ring. There we go, 12-volt cable, obviously run down there to the electrics. But for now, that is the MaxxFan. Hi guys, it's been a week since we did the MaxxFan at the back, and it's been raining a lot, so I haven't been able to do the front one just yet, but that's what we're going to do today. And I'm pleased to say, no leaks. There's been no water coming through this. So that adapter ring from North Devon Campers has been absolutely brilliant, because it's just created a really nice seal, both between the MaxxFan, the adapter, and the roof of the van. Given I also installed it whilst there were sort of ongoing showers, so we won't have that issue today. It is glorious sunshine, albeit a bit chilly. So we're going to do the big Skylight, which is going up here. So it's a big hole, 500 by 700 mil. Let's have a quick look at the box. So as you can see, this is the adapter ring, and you can just see like all these sections here would be just a bit of a pain to use like mastic tape. Yeah, so that is nice. I've also already made just a little wooden, I don't know what you call it actually, to be honest, but it's just a wooden kind of adapter for the inside. And what will happen is the screws will come up and into there, and then clamp the MaxxFan through the roof. So I'll hold this up, might make a bit more sense. So this will go up there like that, flush to the roof. Now the screws, these screws here, don't actually go through the metalwork, they go on the inside, and yeah, literally just go straight into the roof vent itself. So let's get this thing sorted. There we go. I mean, it's not really anywhere else it can go, so you can't really get this wrong. These are little gaps where the screws go down through the inside of that gap. So what I'm going to do, just mark that out with a permanent pen, drill a few holes, cut it out. Gonna have to interject this video right here. So I had a bit of an issue at this point, and it's nothing to do with the Skylight or the trim rings or anything. Basically my camera ran out of battery and I didn't realise. So everything that happened next completely didn't film. But in short, once the trim ring is on, I added more Sikaflex 252, bonded the Skylight to the top of that, and it creates a really nice solid seal. Just kept it pressed down, and then used the inner ring to then clamp it against itself. So effectively you've got the Skylight, the trim surround, the metal bodywork of the roof, and then the plastic kind of under tray, and the screws go up through the under tray and then clamp it into position. Now, as I mentioned, there is a gap, and I'll show you what I've done. There was a gap, and it was around about, I'm gonna say 8 mil in the end. And what I had to do, because the screws that were supplied with the kit weren't long enough, I had to get some, I believe they were 100 mil by 4 mil screws, which was quite tricky to get from, they couldn't get them from Screwfix. I think I ended up ordering them online, so I had to wait a couple of days for them to arrive. But those screws came in, clamped it really nice and tight, and yeah, job was a good one. Put the surround on, and then right, I'm going to show you. I then added like this vinyl cover to use some self-adhesive spray. This is the same sort of leather vinyl that I've used throughout the rest of the van, and it's just gone all around. It's not the neatest in most places, and in fact I'm probably going to actually take it all off, clean up the glue, and then just put some like little plastic trim just to cover the gap. You can just see in there where it's covered. But other than that, the Skylight works. It's good. The only thing I wasn't too happy about, which I'll open it again, is it rattles, and it was quite noisy driving down the dual carriageway at 60. So what I've done is I've added some 3mm self-adhesive foam all the way around, and that just creates a bit more of an air seal against this plastic edge, so it's less rattly. Right, hopefully that gives you a clear idea about how I installed SkyMaxx fan and the Skylight into our medium wheelbase crafter. You've probably guessed by my surroundings that the van is quite a bit more complete than what this video is letting on, and in fact the next few videos that I'm going to upload are still very much build in progress. Fast forward, I'm actually recording this right now and the van is effectively done. So yeah, I've just got a lot of catching up to do to upload videos, lots of how-tos and bits and pieces coming very soon. So if you haven't already, please like, please subscribe, please join this channel if you want to see how this van transitions from a panel van into a fully off-grid gasless medium wheelbase crafter for a family of 4. And here's a sneak peek. There you go. So let's get back to the outro.